When I was 14, my parents decided we needed a change of pace and booked a trip to a remote family resort. It was the kind of place that seemed stuck in the past, like it had been untouched since the 1970s. The resort was isolated, far from anything familiar, surrounded by endless woods. While it had a nostalgic charm, there was something unnerving about it. The main building was old, with wooden beams that groaned under the weight of time. The halls smelled like stale cigarettes and faint mildew, and enormous bugs skittered across the floors, making my skin crawl. It was the sort of place that felt wrong, like it had secrets buried in its creaking walls. As the only boy in the family, I felt out of place from the start. My two younger sisters, Emily, 9, and Sophie, 5, were sweet but not exactly my idea of fun companions. I tried to find kids my age, but the resort seemed designed for families with young children. Everyone else there was under 10, leaving me stuck in a monotonous routine. That's when I met her, Maya. She was 15, just a year older than me. I first saw her in the arcade one evening while my sisters played skee-ball. Maya didn't seem like she belonged there either. She had a goth-like vibe with dark makeup around her eyes and black clothes that made her stand out against the sea of bright vacation t-shirts and flip-flops. "This place sucks." "Ha," she said, appearing out of nowhere. Her directness startled me, but I nodded, relieved to find someone who shared my sentiment. We started talking, and I realized quickly that Maya was different. She wasn't like the other kids. She had this air of mystery that drew me in. The next day, I ran into her by the pool. She waved me over and said, "Hey, want to go for a walk?" "I found this cool spot by the river, desperate for something to do," I agreed. Maya was intriguing and different, and I was too curious to say no. We walked along a dirt path leading to the river, talking about anything and everything. I asked her where her family's room was, trying to keep the conversation light, but her answer was vague. "Oh, near the main hall," she said quickly, her tone dismissive. I noticed her hesitance but didn't push. We sat by the riverbank, skipping stones and talking about life. That's when Maya opened up about darker things. She told me about how disconnected she felt from her family, how she didn't have any real friends, and how her life felt like it was unraveling. Then, without warning, she said something that sent a shiver down my spine. "I like the feel of blood. It's ... different. You wouldn't understand." Her words hung in the air like a storm cloud. My curiosity turned to unease, but before I could respond, she abruptly changed the subject. "Hey, can we go to your room? I need somewhere to think." At 14, my mind immediately jumped to all the wrong conclusions, and I said yes. I wasn't thinking clearly, I just wanted to impress her. When we got to my room, the air grew heavy with an awkward silence. Maya sat on the bed, and I tried to make small talk, but she kept steering the conversation back to her family, how much she hated them, how they didn't understand her, and how she didn't know if she could take it anymore. Then, without warning, she pulled out a switchblade. The blade gleamed in the dim light as she flicked it open. My heart stopped. "Sometimes," she said softly, "I think about using this on myself, or maybe on someone else." Her voice was calm, almost too calm, and her eyes held a cold, unblinking stare. I froze, unsure if she was testing me or if she was serious. My instinct screamed at me to run, but I forced myself to stay calm. "Do you want to use this knife on someone?" she asked, holding the blade out in front of her. I swallowed hard, my throat dry. No. I don't know. I need to think about it," I stammered, trying to sound neutral. Maya tilted her head, studying me before finally closing the blade. "Let's go for another walk," she said. Relieved to get out of the room, I agreed. As we walked the resort grounds, her demeanor shifted. She began staring at people we passed, her gaze intense and unrelenting. It was like she was sizing them up, and it unnerved me. Then, up ahead, I saw my parents. My heart leapt with relief. "Oh, there's my mom and dad," I said quickly. "I should go hang out with them." Maya looked annoyed but didn't argue. She simply said okay and disappeared into the shadows. That night I couldn't sleep. Around 9:30, I heard the faint beep of the door unlocking. My heart sank. Maya stepped into my room holding a switchblade. "I want blood," she whispered coldly. Terrified, I screamed. My dad burst in, and Maya fled. The police found no trace of her or her family, and there was no record of their stay at the resort. We left the next day, shaken. Some people aren't just trouble, they're dangerous.